pleasure to call the February 2025 meeting of your Hanover Borough Council to order. I request that we stand and recite our Pledge of Allegiance. Follow that with a brief moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and please be seated. Secretary Felix, let's call the roll.
Mr. Bob?
Here.
Mr. Fuentes?
Here.
Mrs. Funk?
Here.
Mrs. Greenholt?
Here.
Mr. Hegberg?
Here.
Mr. Kress?
Here.
Mr. Luckenbill?
Here.
Mr. Ricart?
Here.
Mr. Rowland?
Here.
Dr. Rupp?
Here.
Solicitor Schultes?
Here.
Manager Lewis?
Here.
Mayor Whitman?
Here.
Secretary Felix? Junior Counsel Noah Cronister?
Here.
Junior Counsel Alexis Day?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there a motion for agenda item 2 from council?
To the motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
If you would read the motion, please, sir?
Me?
Yeah.
Okay. Consideration of a motion to approve the hiring of the following probationary firefighters effective March 3rd, 2025. Joshua R. Otis and Gregory R. I'm going to do the best I can. Borys.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We ask the mayor to administer the oath of office. Mayor Whitman.
Joshua and Gregory up.
Oh, these guys dress up well.
You want to come over this way, please? I want over there can, if you want to face that way so they can have you on camera. Are you ready? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. In this first part, you're going to say I and then say your name, okay? So I,
Gregory Borys. I, Josh Otis.
no, just repeat after me. Do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend
that I will support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth.
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
And as a firefighter
and as a firefighter
for the Borough of Hanover,
for the Borough of Hanover,
I will diligently and honestly
I will diligently and honestly
perform and discharge
perform and discharge
my duties with fidelity.
my duties with fidelity.
I will conscientiously
I will conscientiously
and impartially
and impartially
enforce the laws
enforce the laws
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
the United States of America,
the United States of America,
and the ordinances
and the ordinances
of the Borough of Hanover,
of the Borough of Hanover,
in obedience to
in obedience to
the proper orders
the proper orders
of competent authority
of competent authority,
and in full conformance
and in full conformance
to the civil service rules
to the civil service rules
and regulations
and regulations
and the laws
and the laws
of said Commonwealth
of said Commonwealth
relating to firefighters.
relating to firefighters.
I will also uphold,
I will also uphold,
obey,
obey,
and enforce the law
and enforce the law
without consideration to
without consideration
a
to
person's race, color, sex,
a person's race, color, sex,
religious creed,
religious creed,
sexual orientation,
sexual orientation,
age,
age,
national origin,
national origin,
ancestry,
ancestry,
handicap, or disability.
handicap, or disability.
I do further swear
I do further swear
that I do not advocate,
that I do not advocate,
nor am I knowingly,
nor am I knowingly,
a member of any organization
a member of any organization
that advocates
that advocates
the overthrow of the government
the overthrow of the government
of the United States
of the United States
or of this Commonwealth
or of this Commonwealth
by force or violence
by force or violence
or other unconstitutional means,
or other unconstitutional means,
or seeking by force or violence
force or violence
to deny other persons
to deny other persons
of their rights
of their rights
under the Constitution of the United States
under the Constitution of the United States
or of this Commonwealth.
or of the Commonwealth.
And I do further swear
And I do further swear
that I will not
that I will not
so advocate,
so advocate,
nor will I knowingly
nor will I knowingly
become a member
become a member
of such organization
of such organization
during the period
during the period
that I am affiliated
that I am affiliated
with the Borough of Hanover, Pennsylvania.
with the Borough of Hanover, Pennsylvania.
Congratulations. If you want to start, and then I have paperwork for you to sign.
Congratulations, guys.
Congratulations, Josh. Congratulations, Greg.
Good job, Sue.
Thank you. Reading skills.
I know.
Should memorize that. Yeah, that was longer.
That's for next year. I'm not doing it. It's the same fix it.
Just remember pledging allegiance to the flag.
We better pray.
Who do we want? I'll let you answer.
She a representative on the application. Put her on there. And then Tim for the.
Before we continue, since I'm already up, can I just have another thing? So I was asked to speak at the Toys for Tots annual banquet, and they
This is our
also
agreement. Is it read?
gave us an appreciation certificate because we had a box here for toys, and they recognized me as well. And I just wanted to give some statistics. So in 2024, Toys for Tots served 1,101 families, which was an increase of 278 from 2023. They also served 31 organizations, which was an increase of 10, and they gave out 37,203 toys, 3,165 books. They served 8,152 total children, and that was, and on average, each child received 4 toys and 1 book. They had a 30% increase in families who applied for toys in 2020 from 2023, and a 48% increase in organizations applying for toys. And it is an all-volunteer organization who dedicate many, many hours throughout the entire year. So this was the certificate of appreciation that they have recognized for the borough. And then they also recognized me as, so I just wanted to give you the one from the borough. Thank you.
Awesome.
Okay. Those of you following along, we'll move on to the public hearing on Bellview Street vacation.
So motion, Bill.
Have to read a little something first,
Oh, you're going to read something? Okay.
but I like your enthusiasm. This is the time set for a public hearing to consider granting the revised petition to vacate a 15-foot portion of Bellview Street by adopting ordinance number 2379. Notice of this hearing and of the proposed ordinance has been provided in accordance with sections 1731 and 1731-2 of the Borough Code. At this point, I invite anyone who wishes to address council to come forward. Seeing no one, at this point, I will entertain a motion to adopt ordinance number 2379 to vacate a portion of Bellevue Street.
You have my motion.
Have a motion?
Scott, second.
Yeah, but let me say one thing.
Okay.
As council knows, last month, council entered into a vacation agreement with the neighboring property owners. Part and parcel of that agreement, in terms of waivers and indemnifications, came with it the petitioner's agreement to pay a fee to the borough to offset the borough's costs and expenses relating to the petition, the preparation of the agreement, the vacation ordinance itself, the advertisement, and the borough's related legal and administrative fees. That fee was $6,000 that has been paid. So at this point, if council is prepared to vote, we can vote.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. We will do this by a roll call. Secretary Felix?
Dr. Rupp?
Yes.
Mr. Ricard?
4.
Mr. Bob?
No.
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Luckenbell?
4.
Mr. Hegberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Greenholt?
Yes.
Mrs. Funk?
Yes, and I want to thank Bill and our attorney here tonight.
Mr. Rowland?
Solicitor,
Yes.
for giving all that information to the people. Thank
Mr.
you.
Fuentes?
Yes.
That was 9-4 and 1 against, so the motion passes.
Thank you. At this time, there was, for the record, there was no executive session of council this month. That will lead us into agenda item 5, being public comment. I have one pre-meeting, the first portion, I should call it, public comment, and that would be Mr. Holt.
Good evening, Mr. President. Robert Holt, Third Ward. We're preparing to start the bidding process for the 44 Frederick Street renovation, and I would ask that there be a lot more effort to ensure that that process is transparent and open to the public. That we can see what's being spent and whether we're really getting value for the money being spent. That didn't happen with the bidding process with 33rd Frederick. That bid has been obscured from the public, I think intentionally, but we'll get to that. And I just believe that there should be more discussion about how this is going along and more focus putting on limiting cost overruns like we've seen in the 33 Frederick Street building, where we're between the building acquisition of $3.1 million in renovations and then the cost overruns, we're into $4 million. In the past 3 years, you've raised the taxes each year. This year, 24, 23, and the way it's going, the only thing I can assume is we're going to be seeing a tax increase in 2026 and probably 2027. And I will thank you.
Okay, I have no one else for the first portion of public comment, so we'll close that and move into approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on consent agenda items? Looks like it's rather lengthy.
Just a minute. Okay, 606, Bill.
606, yep.
Now, 606 and 610. And there's another one here, just a minute. Oh no, that's under Parks and Recreation. This is just under the agenda.
Just sixes, yep.
I think I'm okay there. Yeah, I am. Just 606 and 610 under this.
Okay, 606 and 610.
Correct.
You want to pull them
Yes.
and discuss them
please.
separately? Okay.
Yes.
Any others?
Yes.
Okay, I have a motion and I believe a second. Did I get a second? Okay. A motion and a second for approval of consent agenda minus 606 and 610. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay, back to 606. Counselor Funk, what do you want to discuss?
Yes, I just want to clarify everything here at this point. We have a committee set up, and Margie just informed me tonight that we have at least 9 members on this Shepherd Myers Long Arm Master Site Development Committee, correct?
9?
Do we have 9 members?
Yes, ma'am, 9. I was just
We have
confirming
9.
Matt. 9.
Margie, can you please tell everyone here what those 9 members consist of?
So there are Parks and Rec Board members, there are staff persons, there are council members, and there are members from the community at large. There is someone from West Manheim Township. There's a Park and Rec professional from Carroll County, which if the property that we're looking at doing a master site development plan for goes into Carroll County, Maryland. So I think we've covered all of our bases as far as who we have. In addition to that, the master planners that we've engaged to work with us bring along their crew. They have landscape architects too. They have master plan specialist who does the documentation and the writing of the plan. And they have someone from land studies. Do you know what his title is?
He's dealing with the environmental aspects.
Environmental aspects of the property.
What'd you say,
The
Matt?
environmental aspects of the property. That's
Okay.
what land studies does, so they're very well represented. Our master plan group are very well represented, and as well, we have some good people from our community.
Right, and the only reason I would vote no for this at this point is I'd like to see at least one other council member appointed. I just think 3 is better than 2, and 5 is better than none. I just think it's much better. It adds more from our council. I see people sitting here tonight that I definitely would recommend as a third party, to be part of that committee. However you vote, I'm just expressing, what I'm looking at here. And as far as the development, are we looking at that development as bringing money back into the town for the taxpayer? What are we looking at here? I need to hear just a couple of sentences on why we are doing this out of the dam, since we really haven't gone forth for years, okay? And I'd just like to have some idea of why we're doing a study, and how much does that study cost? Is there money involved in the study?
You folks approved the grant to be made last year. We made the
Right.
grant last year.
Right. Okay.
We've gotten the grant approved. In the budget season, you approved the matching monies to go along with the grant were we to get it, which we did.
Okay,
So it's $165,000
right,
total. That's with the grant money as well as with the
Right.
borough
right.
fronted money. It is a master site plan intended so that things don't happen in a vacuum. That any development, anything that goes on out at these properties, these 2,500 acres, happen with a plan behind it. It's not someone saying, well, a road would be great there, let's cut another road down to the lake over here, let's put a parking lot up here, let's slap a pavilion here, or maybe a pavilion over here. It'll be a plan that will say, this is how we're going to move forward in the future with anything that happens out at this property. So there'll be several things laid out. There are many public meetings that are a part of this as well. This study committee meets on at least a monthly basis, and maybe as we get further into this, a bi-monthly basis. And then there's public meetings that are a part of this, so the public will be able to weigh in and hear as we go along everything that's happening. And council must ultimately approve the plan for adoption as how we want to move forward.
Right, and, you know, I have a lot of questions that'll be coming up over the months that we're involved in this, but I want to know how much we have to invest, how much of what, I know that we're limited on funds, so are we addressing this through additional grants? I mean, this is where I'm at right now with this.
This document, coupled with our comprehensive plan for Parks and Recreation for Hanover Borough, will allow us to go and seek grant funding. As you know, everyone sitting along that back row knows that what we do with grant funding. That's our goal, is to find
Right,
grant monies
right.
and to further the dollar of the Hanover Borough taxpayer by finding grant money. So that's what, we're all keyed into it. And you folks have hired Delta Development to help us with that, so they are also working on our behalf to find grant funding. So yes, these plans will also help us to implement those grants and to achieve a positive outcome with the grants.
And to find out where this money, and we have to hire people to run that, correct? Do we have to hire additional employees
We're not
with
running
that
anything.
recreational?
We're not running anything right now.
We're not running anything.
Nope.
I know we're just doing the study right now. And the only reason I'm opening it up for the few people that are here and anybody that's on video right now with us is that the information you're giving tonight is out there, rather than them hearing from people behind the scenes and they don't have all the truth.
Yep.
And I think that's so important to
Yep.
bring that out tonight. Okay.
And we'll educate anybody that needs education
And
along the way.
continue to inform. Yeah.
Certainly, most
Okay,
definitely.
that's the only reason I'm tackling this. Thank you.
Anyone else comment on 606? I'll just say that it's new, it is an appointment, and it came from me. It ultimately can grow in time, so
Okay.
it's almost had I believe it's had one meeting, correct? But it can be
Yeah,
added to
you know,
at
I'm
any
just
time,
curious
yeah, so
about what happened
I
at
don't
the
wanna
meeting, what we're
derail it.
doing.
yeah.
And
It's all public.
And I'll be getting a lot of questions, Bill, and I don't want to be behind the eight ball. What?
Meetings are advertised?
Believe they will
They're-
be.
Yeah, but
not-
not
it's a
everybody
study
can make
committee. It's
those
not advertised
meetings,
meetings.
Chuck.
Okay.
Not everybody can
My
make
bad.
those meetings. And then you have word that gets out there that's not correct, and then it remains a headache for the rest of us because we're not completely informed. This is why I'm saying it's so imperative that we be open with our people when we
It's also
hold our
imperative to
finance.
be
I know that.
very
And
informed
I'm not
before we
accusing
speak.
anybody.
Yeah,
Don't take it the
neither am
wrong
I.
way, okay?
I'm weighing
But
in on
I
the
am so
equal
involved.
importance of being informed as well as.
Yeah, and I really
communicative.
am, Bill.
Yeah,
And,
I
and
know you
so,
are.
you know, there have been times I didn't have all the information on certain things, and it makes it hard for the council members, and I'm not preaching the Bible,
Right.
okay? I
Okay.
know, Tim, you want to go home,
I
but
don't want to go home. I just
you don't
move
want to?
on.
What?
I'm ready to move on.
I know you're ready to move on, but there are times when you have to express for the public what we're doing. I'm here, I'm part of 10 of you.
I need a motion technically for 606 of the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor of the consideration signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
One, two, I heard one over here, or two?
Okay, so we have
No,
Greg,
no. Anybody else
Right.
on this
We're
side?
the only two.
Greg and Darlene, and that's it?
I thought I heard a no. Maybe it was an echo. Okay, no.
No.
Motion carries. You also wanted to voice your concerns about 610,
Yes, I did.
about summer rec program.
We have 8 playgrounds, and we're loaded with children over in Bear Avenue. I've got 20 on my block alone. And I do not want to say no to this, but I've got to be fair to all the taxpayers of this area. And only 4 out of the 8 were recommended for recreational activities, food, etc. I go over there with my grandson, and it is jammed full of children. And I'm just wondering how we say no to the other 4 and say yes for these 4, because in my situation with my children in my ward, they have to cross, in order to go to the other playgrounds, they have to cross over to Union Park. They have to cross York Street and Baltimore Street, and they have to walk a distance. I'm totally against that. And I know that the parents that have called me are against it too. If they go to Mao, they have to cross the railroad tracks and go down to Mao and Ridge, where there have been numerous accidents. I can't put them at risk. And the thing is that Bear always has been a centrally located park. So they said, well, we have to build a pavilion. I'm not asking for a pavilion. What I'm asking for is a setup where we can put a tent and we can have recreational activities. All of our parents are taxpayers, and they all deserve equal, what we give to 4. And some of those parents don't have the transportation to take their children back and forth. They don't.
Does anyone on council
So-
have additional questions of Councilor Funk about the issue? Transportation availability is your concern. You have additional concerns or questions?
I have a
A
a
solution?
solution
Good.
that's, we
Good.
had done, it's been a couple years. Mr. Fry from the school district came and did what's called a heat map to identify the children that are of program age and where they live.
Good, good, good.
And that's where this list came up with, or how it was derived. Perhaps we may want to ask him or pay someone to do that again, to look at where the right age children live and so forth,
right.
what would be the best one. But when we did this a couple years ago, that's how we came up with these locations.
Well, I don't know who did it. They certainly didn't do a thorough study.
No, it was very,
Because-
I disagree with you. It was
No,
done.
and I disagree with you because I live in that area, Scott, and
Okay.
we have 20 children alone on my block. What I'm saying to you is that the buildings that are in my area are becoming densified. So we don't just have one home. We have 3 and 4 apartments in one home. This is where the density began.
You shared your concern. I'd like to ask the manager a question or staff. The YMCA is staffing this for us, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
We did reach out to see if they could staff a 5th site.
Yeah.
And we've been working as staff to try to come up with shade for the location at Bear Avenue, as it is very hot. It's a lot of blacktop. There's not any real shade. We were there. And like I said, a lot of blacktop, but, and
Where's
not
the blacktop, Margie?
the whole, I mean, it's 2 basketball courts is the primary makeup of the
Cement,
park.
yes.
Yes.
Yes,
it's
cement.
Oh, all right, blacktop cement. I
Okay.
thought it was blacktop.
But we have
could be
shade
wrong.
trees there, Margie.
There are some along the perimeter, yes.
Oh, yeah, we have shade trees all around.
But
Mount
for kids
Avenue
to
has.
gather in one space, we're trying to find a way
I'm
of-
trying to find
I
two.
know. And so, I was trying to answer Bill's question. He asked about what staff is doing, so we are looking to try to raise funds to erect a pavilion. In the interim, we've talked about what we could do. Could we use a pop-up tent or something like that?
Are you talking this year, Margie?
We're talking this
Or
year,
next
next year, any time.
You're
We're
talking
trying to
this
do
year,
something
okay.
this year, but the YMCA cannot staff a 5th site.
I know that, you've told
They
me.
don't have the means to staff a 5th site. If that were to
YW.
change, we will come back to you and amend this. If we can get some things worked out, we will come back and amend this. It's not that the YMCA is saying no, they're saying right now they don't have staff to staff a 5th site.
And I understand that.
And were
and-
they to come back and say they found enough staff to staff a 5th site, and if we are able to get a pavilion erected somewhere or a temporary setup with a tent, we would be coming back to council and asking for approximately another $9,000.
Fine.
So I'm
Fine.
just saying.
You know,
that-
you
that-
said we're spending $20,000 per park. At least that's what I was told. And all I'm
No,
trying
it's
to
about,
do.
it's about $9,000 a park.
Oh, well, then that's fine. That's even better.
So
And I
it's,
know that Brian's going to go with you, and you're going, and I'd like to be included in that, to go and see if we can get sponsors for this year. But the thing is that you're going to put off a program for children that need it on Bear. They need it in that area. And it's not just Bear Avenue. It's Locust, it's Fulton, and I go on and on. I'm just trying to find out how we made those decisions, who made those decisions, and why these children are going to be, I don't want to use the word neglected, but they're pushed off to the sides, and they won't have that availability. And our taxpayers who pay taxes to this town are deserving of having their children have proper playgrounds in the spring and the summer. And there's just no argument in my book. And Bill, you can shut me off, but
Counselor
it's,
Funk, be aware that you are derailing the entire initiative by not approving, if you're in opposition to what you're discussing.
I want those
It seems
children
to
to
me
have
the
it, but I'm
appropriate
saying.
thing to
But
do
what-
would be, let me finish, would be to move these forward, keep them in the pipeline moving so that those children may have a rec program with staff taking the comments that you've made to try to see.
Right.
Right now, you couldn't add anything to the list despite you wanting to because the YMCA doesn't have staffing and we don't have
I
a
know that,
facility there.
Bill, I know
So
that.
we're just talking. We're
We're
just
going to
talking.
have to think out of the box. And the fact of the
We
matter
are
is.
thinking out of the box, but I'm afraid that you're trying to derail the other four parks.
The other playgrounds from
I'm
having.
afraid of that, yes.
What about the children that are left behind on those other playgrounds?
They're not left behind, at least we have something in their area, and we're trying to make it better, more closer to them, but that's not happening tonight. That can't be something that you wish, that has to be something
No, this
that
isn't what I
staff
wish.
has to work
This-
out.
This is fairness, Bill. This should have been decided before it even was brought up to us. I don't know who was the head of these
Who should decide
programs.
that, ma'am? We do these things in public
I
at council
didn't-
meetings.
Okay, I'm bringing it up, saying that there are 4 that we are going to sponsor and put money in and extra activities, and there are 4 where the children are not going to be privy to that.
Correct.
That's all I'm saying.
Correct.
And I can't vote for 4 and not for 8.
But then don't.
You've
Okay.
got it.
Anyone
You've got
else?
it. You've got it. I can't do it.
Can we get this topic on the agenda down the line where we can start moving forward on looking at the other 4 and what we can do?
I don't see
And
why
get
not.
that data that Mr. Rowland is.
Are you asking for this year, Brian, or for next year?
Yeah, I think, yeah, that's exactly what I'm
We're
I'm
going to
saying.
work for this
Yeah.
year?
Yeah, we
Okay.
got time, but we
Yeah.
want to keep this
And
moving
I want
forward
to
for
become
the
part
4.
of that.
And Ms.
Okay.
Funk, I think too.
I'll work my tail off.
We discussed, volunteering too, if we had to. So let's try to make that happen, because that's something we can do to help move this forward.
Yeah.
But if President Ricard, if you can get that back on the agenda for us to
Right.
discuss
Absolutely.
this year, that would be fantastic.
Thank you.
Anyone else on 610?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Bill.
I need a motion for it and a second.
So moved.
Second? I've heard a second this way. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
1, 2. Motion carries. We will move into, funny, Parks and Recs, item 7. Is there a movement afoot for item 701?
I'd make a motion.
Second.
I'll tell you fix it.
A motion and a second. Any discussion on kayaks? Calling the question. All in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Finance and Personnel, Vice President Kress.
My favorite part, right here. Okay. Ratify building construction change order updates. A, change order number 17 in the amount of $10,268 to reconfigure electric door access system, emergency access or egress. B, which is change order number 20, $567 to reconfigure safety features of the stair treads, stair C. C, change order number 26, $2,682 to connect exterior lighting to automatic clock system. D, change order number 29, in the amount of $995 to relocate power and data for building automation panel to room 32. E, change order number 32, a credit of $1,232 for removal of sanitary cleanout in room 29 and 30. Change order, or F, change order 33, and the credit amount of $5,555 for reconfiguring exterior lower metal panel finish detail. And change order G, number 39, credit amount of $5,106 for removal of rolled plan storage systems for room 11.
So that's a 15 to the bad and 12 to the good, net 3,000.
It's right around there, a little less.
I just rounded it off, but
Well, Tim, we're paying out more than we're bringing in, but can I ask one question? Oh, I'm sorry,
Can I ask
Bill.
for a
I'm
second
sorry.
first before you ask for a question?
Yeah,
There is a second. Your question, Counselor Font?
okay. On the reconfigurations, this is my question. Who was responsible for those reconfigurations? I mean, in other words, why are they being reconfigured? Weren't they supposed, I mean, I'm seeing a lot of this happen, and I'm just trying to figure out
It's the same
why.
And I might speak out of turn, Eric, I apologize, I can't see you, but I'll make a mention here of something and you can fill in.
Sure.
It's the same type of thing when you do a renovation of a building. You can't see behind all the walls and stuff, so after you
Right.
tore stuff down, we maybe found a surprise or two. That's why we had a contingency plan in that budget for change orders. I would love to tell you that we could see everything behind the walls, but that's one of the issues. And do you want to speak specifically to this one?
Yeah, this issue is related to the card access that's going to be used. One of the goals of this project was to improve staff safety. Certainly, as we know, you can walk pretty much right through the middle of the administrative area up there. That's not in today's world, much as we saw unfortunately this last weekend. You need to really control where people are going. And so as part of that, we're adding card access at certain doors. The original design accounted for what it thought was going to be where electric was available for those systems. We ended up having to bring electric to those to, quote, electrify the strikes in order to make it work. So that's
These
where
were
the reconfiguration.
unforeseen items that cropped up during this portion of the
And
job.
because of the size of this one, the staff went back and looked for other things that we could offset those with. The rolled storage was one that actually personally comes out of the Department of Engineering
Right.
one. We wanted to have a better way to store some of these rolled plans we have, but at the end of the day, we got to try to stay on budget, so we'll forego that and figure out a different way to do that.
Okay, thank you.
but it's 15 to the bad and 12 to the good, so it's $3,000 net. Not to say it's
Could be
not
worse.
important, but it's,
Any other questions, comments? Calling the question. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye, please.
aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Counselor Kress, you're still up.
Okay. Approval of ordinance amendment for fire protect, or pension plan. A, ordinance number 2380 to align with benefits under the collective bargaining agreement.
So motion.
Any discussion? We will have a roll call vote. Secretary Felix?
Dr. Rupp? Yes. Mr. Ricart?
Four.
Mr. Bob?
Or,
Mr. Kress?
Yes.
Mr. Lookenbill?
Yes.
Mr. Hegberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Greenholt? Yes. Mrs. Funk?
Yes.
Mr. Rowland?
Yes,
Mr. Fuentes?
Yes.
We have 10 in favor of and 0 against, so the motion passes.
Thank you. With that, we will move into the final and public comment portion of the meeting. And Sandy Mao, you're batting leadoff tonight.
Just a simple request this evening. Dr. Rupp, I believe you and the committee worked on a resolution addressing public comment. I'm here tonight to ask you to amend that resolution.
can you
To-
pull that microphone a
I
little
can't.
closer, please?
And I'm asking you to amend that resolution to prohibit anyone from coming before this body or any other body with incorrect information or with fake news. That's all I have.
Okay, next we will have
We'll remember next week, it'll be something else.
Grace Mullen.
I know, I wrote small, or you don't have your glasses on or something, come on. Okay, I've got two suggestions. One's easy, and poor Scott, I hit him with it already this morning, and I think I hit a couple other people. But I've been talking to Mariah at Main Street, Hanover, and thinking about when my mother's like I was, she, at 80, she was still going. And she started being a real estate agent. And one of the things she innovated in our town was she handed out these special welcome packages. Well, we have so much now in Hanover to tell them about. And so I've talked to a few of the real estate agents already, or renter, or whatever you want to call them. What I was going to ask, and I'm going to talk to Margie about it more, but if I could get Valerie, and I've already got Mariah, we have cool stuff out there, but we need to get it to the people as they move in. And I'm not asking you to, I'm just think about it, and I can't imagine, I'll deliver them. I figured I could deliver them like every 3 months to the real estate, big whoopee. Or I'll get my kids to do it, but I'll get it done. But I think this is going to be something really cool and make it, we're different. We're proud of our town and we're telling you about it. I can't see a downside. The other thought I have, and talking about the committee, the committee to study the dam, I keep hearing more and more about the closed container ordinance. And I've got all sorts of things that other towns in Pennsylvania have. And I have found, you don't even want to mention it in town because people are violently for it or violently opposed. I mean, my goodness, it's a hot issue. I give up. I'm shutting up. But why don't we have some sort of citizens study committee with the fire, not fire chief, police chief, to discuss it and come to some sort of compromise. That seems to be what a lot of the towns are doing. They do it in terms of hours for it. They do it in terms of, well, one, they have to find out from the police whether they can enforce it, because it's stupid to make an ordinance that no one can enforce, and that would not be the easiest thing in the world. But I would love to serve on such a committee. I would look into it. I mean, I've got papers and papers of all the different ordinances, and they had trouble getting a solution. My suggestion is let's figure out how to, yes, we listen to Trump, but let's make a deal here and get something going. If so many people are in favor, so many people, we need a middle ground. Anyway, that's my suggestion, is that we have some sort of committee.
Okay, Mr. Holt, you want to speak again?
Thanks, Mr. President. I heard something interesting tonight, and that is, nothing happens in a vacuum when decisions are made. But one decision was made in a vacuum. You gave a 5-year exclusive access, no-bid contract to a commercial boating company to run an operation for 5 years out at the Long Arm Reservoir. There was a consent agenda action every time it was brought up. There was no discussion. There's been no public hearings. What do you guys got to hide about this one? That's just, it just doesn't make sense. And there was just no explanation, no justification. There should have been a public hearing. A man walked into a bar in Hanover, and this should be a joke, but it isn't. That man is dead. He got beat and hurt so bad, he died a few days later in a bar here in Hanover. A businessman was driving home from work, and some kid drank himself into a stupor well over the .08 limit, considered DUI, and it changed the fate of a family. So when you talk about, well, it's only this many, and the police chief and I count differently, because I get more, and you're on a trend, because there's already 10 DUIs, public drunkenness, underage alcohol use, already 10 So you're on a trend, it's going up, and rather than making excuses about we can't hurt business or we don't want people to have a good time, we ought to think about what's the implications to the innocent people who get caught up in the recklessness and the disregard. And when people say a law is unenforceable, it's because they really don't want to put the effort into enforcing it, sir. And so I can't see any excuse for why people can have bar crawls around the town and on out into their neighborhoods. It doesn't fit with our community values that I've heard in the short time I've been here. And I don't know. I can't figure that one out. Except there's a couple of people who are making a lot of money on this, and that's why they like to single out Royal Farms as the culprits. But if you look at the Liquor Control Board records, Royal Farms hasn't had a Liquor Control Board violation since 2017, sir. The Liquor Control Board violations that have happened in recent months have come from establishments, of recent years, have come at establishments around Broadway, York, Railroad. So, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But you can point the finger at the big guy and come up with all these bizarre stories about, big cans of beer and all that. But I'm quite tired of seeing cans of beer showing up on the curbs in my neighborhood and the little miniature bottles of whiskey and things like that. We live a mile away, and some of us live 2 miles away, and we don't deserve that. And I don't think any of you would put up with that in your neighborhood. I don't think so. And so you're creating an atmosphere, you're creating a setting that says, you can do anything you want. Go ahead. Go ahead, walk out, get yourself plastered, and then walk out, get in a car, and go cause mayhem and chaos for an innocent family. So, I thank you.
Austin Graham, you are batting cleanup.
All right. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Austin Graham, and I want to take a moment to talk about an issue that continues to impact our community, which is rental property safety. Last year, the Borough Council had the opportunity to establish a rental inspection ordinance to ensure that tenants are living in safe and habitable conditions. Unfortunately, that measure was voted down. Since then, I've continued to hear from residents living in rental properties with serious safety issues. Wiring that's not up to code, heating that doesn't work in the winter, and even units without functioning smoke detectors. These aren't minor inconveniences. These are basic safety concerns that put not only renters at risk, but also entire neighborhoods. A fire caused by faulty wiring doesn't necessarily stop at one unit. I know this isn't on the agenda tonight, but I'd like to encourage council to reconsider bringing this issue back for discussion. Many other towns in Pennsylvania have reasonable rental inspection policies that balance tenant safety and landlord accountability. Handovers should be no different. We need to have this conversation again. Our community's safety depends on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll close the in-room portion. Community media, is there anyone online with a hand up or a leg out?
If you're joining us via Zoom, you're welcome to unmute yourself if you'd like to address council.
Okay, thank you very much. I will make an announcement or two. Just a reminder that on Monday, March 3rd is the counselor meet and greet. That's at the library, correct? 2 sessions, one of which is at 4 and the other is at 6. And also for council, there is a council retreat on March 22nd. I'm sorry.
Just a reminder, this was passed out at the last meeting. Reminder to fill this out before you come to the meet and greet. Thank you. And then we'll discuss this at the retreat. It's really important that everybody fills this out. If you don't want to work on it, just put NA or something, but it's really important. It's also one of our goals. But also, we do need to have a mission and a purpose where we're going to spend money. Thank you.
Okay. In keeping with the theme, I watched the news in the morning, and a lot of publicity this week is the tragic passing and shooting of the officer, Duarte's, is it, in West York. As a reminder, a humble reminder, we make up the world that we live in. Plain and simple. We make it good, we make it bad. We can make it better, we can make it worse. We is a powerful two-letter word. Let's not forget it. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So much.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned. See you next month.